So, and this is where it gets really interesting if we unpack this. So in fear, we describe the problem. In faith, we describe the promise. These are two different things. So this leads you to understand that if you want to be a person of high faith, you're going to have to become comfortable with people thinking you're delusional.
Yes.
Because faith is delusion.
You'll start to be set apart from the world and look odd to the world.
Yeah. So the coolest part about this is science now is proving this to be true. So I'm going to share a couple of stories, if that's okay, that will actually intellectually tie this loop up. There was a Hebrew University, a neuroscientist, his last name was Shlomo. He divided Israeli soldiers into different categories. One category, so all of them were going to run 40 kilometers. He was going to run 40 kilometers and he's testing their stress hormone response in their blood. He's trying to tap into what causes stress. One group, he would have them run 20 kilometers and then tell them they have another 60 left to go. Another group, he would say, I'm going to run you 60, but only run them 40. Another group, he would give them mile markers. A different one, he didn't give them any depth perception, no mile markers. And what he found at the end of the march, the stress hormone level in the blood of the soldiers had nothing to do with how much physical exertion they put in. It had everything to do with their expected distance, the light at the end of the tunnel. And so these studies are starting to come out, and they're showing us that our brain doesn't respond to what's actually happening. It responds to what we expect to be happening. Here's another story. Charles Garfield, he took Soviet athletes, he put them into 4 different categories. The first category, he had them practice 100% of the time. The second category, he had them practice 75% of the time and visualize winning 25% of the time. The third, 50-50, and the fourth, he had them practice 0% of the time. All they did was visualize winning mentally. 8 hours a day, just visualizing winning. They didn't even practice. They didn't touch a ball. The fourth group performed the best, followed by the third group, followed by the second, followed by the first. This is the craziest thing, is now we can tie scientifically what you expect to happen with what actually happens. And this taps us into this Dispenza, who is getting, Dispenza would be somebody I would say he's got 50% of it. He's got the scientific piece, and I don't know his spiritual stuff, but the way that this works is when a circumstance comes against you and you start looking at the disciple that walked on water. As soon as he looked at the waves, he started to sink. But as soon as he looked at Jesus, he was able to walk on the water. And so here's where this rubber meets the road, is if you want to be a person of faith, there are times in your life where you're going to have to get comfortable sticking your head under the sand. Because anytime you begin describing the problem, you have come out of agreement with what God has promised you, and you become into alignment with the problem, and you will get what you expect. So faith is this holding of the pose. You are hanging on to something that makes 0 sense because God said it, while refusing to respond or react to the thing that you are afraid of.
That's probably the clearest I've ever heard that put. It's like changes my framework on how wow.